As I said, you guys are muted as you come on. Listen. Brad Dale's going to go through his model for us. A lot of you have been asking for this in recent months. You've heard Brad chime in on our monthly masterminds to really share some of the things he is doing. And then a lot of you have actually requested that we do a call where we can hear more of just some of his strategies and systems around MFIC and how he's leveraging that to get more business. So we finally put it together. I'm excited. Obviously, from the, I think, 3 email reminders I've sent out to everybody to be on this call. We'll record this. I think you will want to listen to this. So we want to get all this done in an hour, along with a few quick updates for you. But we will send out the recording as well, so you can listen to it again if you want to go back through some of the scripting he's going to share and some of the way he approaches his business. So let's jump in, Brad. Really, we're going to talk about how to position MFIC to obviously get more referral partners and more clients. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. And we'll save questions till the end because you will have some. I'm going to go through some quick updates just on the site that some of you may not be aware of or haven't checked out yet. And then Brad will go over his system and share what's working. I'm going to run the PowerPoint while he just gets to kind of talk and just free flow with it. How he positions MFIC, how he's using it to acquire new real estate agents who actually pay him money. We'll talk about the specifics of that. And really then cultivating the leads that come in through MFIC to transition them to eventual customers. And then we'll have a little bit of time for Q&A. I'll stop the recording then. We can do some live Q&A of any questions you have for Brad or myself. So one of the first updates I want to make sure everybody's aware of, because I have talked to a few of you haven't checked it out yet, but we are building out some new tracking charts for the program. And Brad, sorry, I'll welcome you in just a minute. Let me get through some of the updates on the site, and then we're going to dive into your material.
No problem. No problem. Take your time.
All right. Well, we only have an hour. I want about 55 minutes to be for you, at least 50. So tracking charts. When you guys log into your admin site, we have created some new functionality for you to track the growth of your membership base in the program over a 12-month period. Your logins every month. We just started this, obviously. So you'll be able to see your logins. And obviously why that's important is how many people have come to the site, logged in, and thought about me. I think that's pretty obvious, but take that a step further. This is something you're going to want to share with your real estate partners. As Brad talks about his system, you're going to have this capability for every one of your sites. If you're co-branding with a company or a real estate partner or anybody, you may have your individual site that you want to be able to see that, but you want to also show your real estate partner, and in Brad's case, who's paying them, how many people have at least logged into the site and thought about you, even as they're logging in for other materials and resources. The faculty, we created a pie chart out of this. Some of you have not completed your faculty. Others have, a few people in each area. This will help you keep track of if you're missing any professionals. So you can see over to the side here, you've got one real estate professional, you've got one mortgage professional, and so on. So track your progress, making sure your faculty is complete. And we'll talk about what such a networking opportunity this creates with each of your partners. But some of you, I've realized, don't even have yourself in there as a mortgage professional. So make sure you are there so that any members you've enrolled, if they want to go to the faculty, you should be listed there along with your other referral network and partners. But this will help you keep track of that, and you can do that individually per site. So as I said, when you select a site under the stats page, you can go in and check out Craig Johnson's co-branded site, check out whether he has been enrolling people or not enrolling people, be able to share with him how many people have logged into the site, and use this really as just another opportunity to stay in constant engagement with your real estate partner and build that relationship. Brand new. This was just requested, and we're going to have it built probably by tomorrow. We've realized that so many of you you get so many inbound referrals from your partners, your real estate professionals, financial advisors, and oftentimes you can't reciprocate as much as you would like. It just doesn't work that way for most. So what we're building or creating right now is the ability to track the click-throughs to your partner's websites. So you got to promote this. Make sure your members of your site, your prospects, your customers, everybody that's a member of the site knows about that faculty page. If they go to your faculty page at any time, click on the website button to go check out your estate planner's website or your tax partner's website, your real estate agent's website, you'll be able to track this and see how many click-throughs you've had. At least check them out. Now the point here being, I value all your referrals, Mr. Real Estate Agent, and I know maybe some of them don't turn into business for you, but look, I'm doing everything I can. We've had 22 people in there check out your website and at least get to know who you are and that you work with me and that you're a partner of mine. So we'll have that built. I believe by tomorrow it should be done. You'll be able to start tracking that as well, and we'll continue taking your ideas and build in more tracking capabilities. Anything that helps you get in front of your partners and stay engaged with them. One simple change, so many of you are enrolling your customers yourself. They're sitting at your desk or you get off the phone, you go to your site, you go to the enroll page and you add them as a member. Now when they get their enrollment email, their congratulations email, it will include their username and password. So that will just simplify your life a little bit. Brad, this was one of the things that you had mentioned, just have it in there already so they can go right in and log in and look around a little bit.
Which was really brought to me by a realtor that I set up on this. He's like, so if I do this, how does my client even know what their password is? And
yeah,
so,
yeah.
We just learn functionality as we're out there putting it on the street.
Exactly. And that's, we're here to listen. And if it's a good idea, we're going to go build it. We're going to go put it in place really quick. Some are easier than others, but that was a great suggestion, and now it's working. So, without further ado, Brad Dale of Cherry Creek Mortgage, of Life Tools, Inc., the Fiscal Fitness Program. He's doing so many good things. He's really building a pretty amazing foundation, in my opinion, my humble opinion here. But we're going to turn it over to Brad, and we're going to focus on Brad's business, and he's just going to share. And I really appreciate this. I know everybody else listening to this, whether it's their second or third time at this point listening to this, really appreciate you sharing, and there's some things you're going to share with us even after the call, some resources that you utilize that we'll talk about a little bit later. But thank you so much for contributing your time and even the time in preparing for this.
Well, you're very welcome, and really I have to say, thank you, Trevor, really for all that you've done and building this site. And to be honest, I'm really humbled. I'm not used to all the accolades and all this and seeing it come across. A little nervous, so we'll just try to work through that part of it. But I'm just grateful for the opportunity, and as everyone listening will soon learn, I'm not a professional speaker, but I'll just try to speak from my heart, and what I'm experiencing is as best as I can, and hope it can be helpful, and cover some of the stuff on the Q&A. So thank you for all your hard work on this, Trevor. I mean, really, in many ways of what I've been wanting to do, and my passion is finding your tool, and what you've been doing has really kind of been a godsend for me, and so it's just something that's, I'm excited to be able to do this with you, so thank you.
Great, absolutely. We appreciate it. And you don't need to be a professional speaker here.
Okay, good. Woo, so good.
No pressure at all.
Okay, all right.
But it better be good.
Okay, I know. It's recorded. Okay.
So I think where we decided to start, and you were going to talk as I really just coordinate this through the PowerPoint portion of it, but first and foremost, at the ground level, understanding your MFIC and your website and how to position it really. We talked about some of those key ways, so why don't you kind of start there on how you really position it as a tool in your business and what it really represents for you.
Yeah, and I think I'll just kind of go back a little bit and give everybody just a little bit of insight too. And as Trevor and I were working through this and kind of, coming up with a PowerPoint and how do we think this was going to be best for everyone, what really I think came out of the conversation was, yes, it's about me sharing what I'm doing, but it's really some of the fundamentals, some of the framework that that anyone can implement. You don't have to do it just like I'm doing it. Quite honestly, I'd encourage you to find your own way. I kind of have this belief, this philosophy of what I call autonomy within a structure, that we all have to use our own kind of unique gifts and skills as we take these types of things to the market. And so what we came up with really is just kind of these bullet points that are kind of the framework. And within that framework, I think anyone can work with that and kind of find your own autonomy, if you will. And then, of course, I'm going to share what I'm doing and just, kind of how I've put my spin on this. And so as we were talking about this, I think the first thing that we really, it's so important too, and what I've had to get my mind around as well too, is the website's awesome. I mean, it's really cool. It's got a ton of content. Trevor's done a great thing. But sometimes when I was out on the streets and talking to people is don't get too caught up in the website too soon. Use MFIC really as a marketing tool. And really what I think by marketing is it's about positioning. There's so much about positioning of what this is, and that gives an opportunity to really share who you are in the marketplace, for people to get to understand your purpose, for being out there, your passion, kind of who you are and what you do. And that's really where to, I think, start with this and know that when the time comes and you get to the website and people get on the website, anybody who's ever been on the website, as we all know, they're just like, wow, that's really awesome. But it really is about the positioning, about the opening of doors, and it's about being able to position yourself different in the marketplace to start having conversations, because we so easily get pigeonholed into, oh, you're a mortgage guy. I know what mortgage guys do, and so it's really an opportunity to kind of break away and be unique in that way. So anything I missed there kind of on that, Trevor, that we were talking about from just the piece of just marketing, how important that is as a positioning tool?
No, I think we'll get into it a little bit later, how specifically you position it to real estate professionals, which people could also insert financial advisor or other professionals there as we talk about real estate agents. But you had mentioned to me too, and you've mentioned this to me from day one, that you view it really as the engine, and you build your systems around it. It's kind of the foundational component. Everybody flows into this system, where MFIC is a key component of it. And then out of that, it really is, the rest of it's you. It's engaging with you, your team. That's always stood out to me.
Yeah, and I think, and that really just ties in kind of to our next point there too, is the tangible. Is we're out really positioning ourselves, and for what I've done is just going out and really positioning myself in the marketplace. So for example, if someone in the mortgage industry, it kind of says, what do you do? And it says, well, I use a unique process, called Mortgage by Design, which, takes a consultative approach in identifying the borrower's financial and personal needs and goals, and helps them determine the best mortgage strategy to accomplish those needs and goals by design. And so although that sounds really kind of good, oftentimes it's what's the tangible of that? What's the takeaway? And so that's what MFIC, from being an engine, really is that what opens the doors, because you can talk about then this tool, and it's the leave behind. So there's something very tangible as you're out there talking about how you're different and unique in the marketplace. Is at least what I found, how I've been wanting to use it and been using it.
And as you were talking, I remember one other huge aha that you actually told me about last week when we were preparing for this, that I failed to put on this presentation, was the idea or the concept of that MFIC, the website itself, this portal, this funnel of plugging people in and engaging with customers, it's not the end game, you said.
Right.
It's the beginning game.
Yep.
And if people go in and feel like they can just enroll people into the site and then sit back and assume that a consumer is going to suddenly take it upon themselves all alone to start pouring into their financial future and educating themselves and reaching out to your financial advisors and CPAs and getting them business, you really relayed to me they're probably going to fail in that respect. It's the beginning game. So maybe talk about that for a minute, because I thought that was a great way to look at it.
Yeah, and I think that even as I've been using the site, going in, getting people enrolled, going back and looking at the member report, seeing how many times that they've been enrolled, getting realtors to get people enrolled into it. There is a little bit of that I found. I was kind of falling into this. How much of the site is really being used? So therefore, gosh, if people aren't going on all the time and using it, so then should I be out offering it just because they're not doing their part, if you will, by going in and getting on the website? And what I really, it goes back to this whole positioning piece again too, is that this is the engine. This is the tangible takeaway that you get people into, that you can then start to nurture a relationship around. It's not the end game. It is simply a tool to be used in the journey of cultivating a lead to and developing a relationship, which I would say really is the most important piece, because you will get a closed loan and make some money out of it, but then in the process of that, if you do that in a relational way, now you have a relationship, a friend, a raving fan, an advocate that can talk about your process. And so I think it's very important not to get caught up in that piece of it, but just understand it is about getting them in and then just nurturing that as you go. And this is just one of the tools for that, not the end-all tool that we're going to have. That's how I'm using it.
Right. All right. Well, thank you. I think that's a key point. So let's jump now to the next piece of this. Partnering with real estate professionals, and there's really three key areas that we wanted to cover from what you are doing in your business. Mm-hmm. Number one, telling the story. I'm going to let you elaborate on that. Yep. Number two, positioning MFIC to the real estate professionals, and how you do that. And then the third piece was what happens when they say yes, kind of your process to onboard them to the program. So we're going to go into each of those. And this is where I hope people will take some notes, because this applies to everyone on the call, whether it's a real estate professional or a financial advisor or a CPA, but just going out and networking. This process, this system can be duplicated for anybody. So let's start with the telling of the story, because that obviously is where it all starts. So you can kind of dive into that.
So as I've been taking this out to the street and just kind of boiling it down into something that that I can kind of wrap my arms around, and I'm a pretty simple guy, and so I just kind of need to get things simple for me, and kind of if I can get excited about it and it makes sense to me, then at least I can feel good, out on the street talking about it and sharing it and being passionate about it, whether anybody else gets it or not. Just like I feel good. So, and the part of that is, back to what we said, it is the positioning. It's starting to understand it's a marketing tool to open doors, and it's a way to position yourself to gain an appointment, first and foremost. Then when you get to the appointment and you sit down, what I've learned is if I just start talking about a website, I see, the realtor or anyone, they kind of start to gloss over a little bit if you just get into showing them this cool website, because the reality is there's all kinds of cool websites out there and books that are out there on, fiscal literacy and budgeting and all that type of thing. So they're kind of just like, okay, yeah, just another website. So what I found is it's so important to be able to set the context, to basically tell the story as, why is this tool even here? Why would I even be investing my time in bringing this tool to them? Because that's a lot of their question is, yes, so what, why? And so what I've really done then is just to basically craft the story about what's happening in our current economy. And really just taking what we hear about all day long in the news, the economic woes, the debt problems. If you guys were watching Fox, I think it was either yesterday or the day before, they were running all day long how, families over $75,000, 60% of them, all they're worried about is their debt and their financial situation that they're in right now. And so it's starting to just tell the story and bringing together of, and I joke sometimes, like, I'm not sure if you've heard, but we're in the middle of a financial crisis. Have you heard anything about that? And of course, the realtors and everyone laugh, yes. And so, but it's really getting to a point of, do you understand? We'll take the state of Minnesota, for example, that our state shut down for a while. Possibly may happen out of Washington. And so they were shut down. And when they finally did get back together and made their compromise, if you will, they left $70 million basically on the table and said, in education, we're not going to fund this, we're not going to bring this through, we're leaving it off, we'll look at it later. And so, when that came out, my wife said, great, now we're going to have referendums for all the different counties so that we can raise money to fund our schools, and we're going to end up paying for this thing. And so that's what's happening all over our country, is that at the end of the day, this ultimately is going to fall to the responsibility of the people, of the borrowers, of the realtors' clients. And I was having this conversation with a couple of realtors yesterday, and they were saying everybody's out looking for the A buyer. And so my question to them was, absolutely, that's great. What about the B buyer? Can a B buyer become an A buyer? Well, yes, they can. And so it's helping them to start to understand that there's all these financial woes. It's ultimately going to land on the responsibility of their client, which is causing them all kinds of stress and fear. And because of that, they're not wanting to move. They don't have the savings to be able to move. They're concerned about their cash flow. They're just very financially unconfident, if you will. And so they're not about to take on the adventure of a new home or whatever the case may be. And because most of them, they just don't know how. Bill Gross of PEMCO said that, the old mantra used to be shop till you drop. Now it's save to the grave. But people don't know how to make that transition, and they're stuck kind of in that transition. But that's really where we're going and what we're needing to do. But we're not getting the education. Most people just don't know how. They didn't learn it from their parents. They didn't learn it in school. Now they're having to do this, realizing this responsibility is coming, and they don't know where to go. So it's about then kind of telling the story of what's going on, getting their buy-in as you're telling the story, and say, and if we can help people be more financially confident, do you think they would move? Would that be something that that would help if we could get more B buyers to A buyers, if we could get more C buyers to B buyers to A buyers, would that expand your pool? And so much of telling the story is helping them understand that their pool of A buyers is shrinking. And if we don't proactively, as mortgage and real estate professionals, go into our communities and into their databases, their friends, and realize the problem's already there, whether people are talking about it or not, if you can then get them to talk about it and bring a tool to help people when it comes up in conversation, you now can start to expand your database. You can start to expand your A buyers into a lot more A buyers, and ultimately is going to help you sell more real estate. So when they kind of start to see the story coming together of why they should start to listen to you about a tool like this and a program like this, that's when you kind of get permission to go to the next step and then start to engage them in the tool and some more of the processes. So I believe that it's a positioning to get in the door, and then when you're in the door, you've got to have your story to tell as to why they need this and how it'll help their business.
Beautiful. As you're saying that again, it always reminds me, and people hear me say this over and over, a lot of you on the call, but start with your why before you dive into the features and benefits,
mm-hmm.
The how and the what. That's what everybody else does. They dive in with features, benefits, how and what I do, and how great you are.
Mm-hmm.
Essential sales, and I know you're coming from that trusted advisor standpoint,
mm-hmm.
which I think we're going to talk about too, but
yep.
And it's honest from the heart, but it's starting with finding the other professionals that buy into your why, that
yes.
have the same why, that same passion. And if they do, you have got a partnership, there in the making. So that's what I'm hearing from you, just putting it a little bit different way.
Yep. Nope.
Getting them to buy in before you dive into, okay, yep. Here's how we're going to do it.
Yep. And yeah, we'll talk about that, a little more as we go along. But yes, you're exactly right. And so I don't know if you want to kind of move along here in the slides, is that and really the next one, is in, because this is where it starts. You position it so you get the appointment. When you show up for the appointment, you have a story. I am kind of been taught in that whole high trust selling mode, and so I believe it is asking questions and understanding. But kind of as you do that, and maybe you already have an understanding of who this realtor is, as somebody that you've been working with, but it's still so important to kind of go back and retell the story and make sure that they're on board. And then as we go forward, helping them understand that by implementing this, they're going to start to get leads. And it doesn't, and it's a paradigm shift to help them understand the typical realtor, any loan officer for that matter, we all are gunning for that A buyer that's going to lead, that's going to close tomorrow. Yes, we still need to find those. But in this market, in this economic condition that we're in, part of telling the story is to help them understand that it's not about just finding the A buyer, it's about finding leads, the C buyers, the B buyers, the A buyers, and you handle them all a little differently. But instead of just passing over the C and B, you get them into the system because they become a lead, and every sale starts with a lead.
Yeah, and I love how you say that is a paradigm shift, because one of the things I see too often out there is, we focus all our attention on the person who is ready, willing, and able today or right now to go do something, and we forget about the other 9 people that have called us, with needs, but maybe they can't do something today. And many people don't have a really defined system to stay in front of those people and cultivate them for future business. And unfortunately, a lot of our real estate partners out there don't do that very well. So if you can come along and get them to understand this paradigm shift, and the fact, as you're going to share, you're going to do a lot of the work for them, as long as they get the leads in front of you. Why not send you more leads and just get people into your system so that you can cultivate them and think ahead, think long term, that, wow, if Brad calls me out of the blue 6 months from now with a lead or with an actual A client who, God, I forgot all about them from an open house that they walked through, that's going to be, money in their pocket from you.
Case in point, last night, met with a client. This is an agent that I set up on the system. After we got him set up, I get a phone call from the person that he referred over. They've had some, credit challenges and different things, but they've been working on it really on their own, and they want to get back in the housing game. So we get together and we sit down and we meet last night, and so, really they're good to go. They need to wait just a few months because they did have a bankruptcy, but credit's reestablished, credit scores are fine. We can get it done for them. They want to get back in, but they're going to have to wait, until just a few months until they're ready to go. I think it's like this spring, March or something. But already right now, I know, and so does that realtor, we have a sale in March. And I don't know about you guys, but I sleep better at night knowing that I've got sales lined up than every day kind of waking up going, oh, man, I hope the phone rings today. And I know that, we do all our sales stuff, but just the simple component of that. Now, I know that when I cultivate this relationship, I've got a sale in March, and I feel good about that.
Paradigm shift. Yeah. Absolutely.
Doesn't mean I'm not looking for more deals today, because I am, because I need pipeline for today and tomorrow and the next day. But when you kind of get into this annuity, this growing, if you will, then they just pop up. And then before you know it, March is full of loans, because you're not only looking for today, you're building for the future. And that's the paradigm shift. We've got to get agents to know that we're going to partner with them to do the same thing, and then show them and reinforce to them, are you glad this one closed today? Remember, this is the one that we met 6 months ago, and because of the system, you're getting paid today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah,
so, you see the slides moved on because you seemed very open, and this, again, back to just sales, maybe not 101, but 201 or 301, where you go in unattached to a specific outcome.
Yep.
And that's what you're doing, and you brush it off.
Yep.
So, talk a little bit about that, but we don't need to elaborate. I think people will get that. But,
they do. Other than I'll just simply maybe elaborate on how hard that is for me. I'm just kind of that firstborn anal, people pleaser, don't like rejection guy, and so so if you aren't that way, good for you. I need some help, and if you are, it's still a matter of just kind of wrestling through with that and knowing. For me, it's the positioning. It is the story. I'm passionate about it. I know the need is out there. And what I'm looking for are like-minded people. And I've come to realize that, you know what, as Jim McMahon used to tell us, there's enough people out there doing business our way to not worry about those ones who won't. And I've really had to just kind of ingrain that in me. But it really is the truth. Because when I find the people that are like-minded, oh, it's so refreshing to work with them. And if I don't, I've just got to be okay to move on and trust I will find the next one. And we all do. Just doing this close to 20 years now, you just do. And so, you know, again, this is just already just kind of on the form of what we've already talked about. It's just helping them understand the natural flow. More leads, more closed deals, more referrals, you know, and just more plans. And so, you know, as we have down there, I think it is really having that heart of it's about serving people, but you have to be able to have a tangible value. And to me, that's what MFIC does. It gives me that tangible value.
So we've set the stage for how you approach a real estate professional. Find somebody who's like-minded. Start with the story. Get them to understand the value and the potential of cultivating leads and not just focusing on A buyers right now. Let's talk about what happens when they say yes. I'll put it all up on the screen, but you talk through some of this, because this is then what actually happens when somebody says, yes, I would love to kind of dive in and work with you in this system and have you as a tremendous resource.
Yep. So what I did is I just kind of had to go back and, you know, I've been on the other end of this, buying things and buying systems for, you know, all my career. And so, and some I really like, some I haven't. And so when I was putting this together, I just really had to go back to that and say, okay, what do I really need? What did I really like when I, you know, brought something on board? You know, what do I need to do to really make this feel like it's a package? It's like something that really gets. And if I'm going to charge them, you know, for RESPA or other reasons, and I want this to really feel like they're getting something that's a legitimate program. So when they say yes, you know, I collect the $395, and I will not move forward until I collect the check. I've made too many mistakes for too many years of just giving it away and hoping that I'll get paid somehow with it, or they're going to get on board with me at some point. And hopefully none of you are like this, but I've spent so much time, energy, and money hoping, and as John Maxwell says, hope is not a strategy, and I'm finally realizing, you know, John, you're right, it's not a strategy. So
He's a smart guy.
He's a smart guy. So I get the check, and I let them know, and I'm right up front about that, you know, and in just a relational way, that's what it takes to get the next step, is that you know, I get the check, and then that's the trigger. And then from that, I have my brochure, my folder that has everything in it that I carry around as my demo. And so then the first thing that they get is I give them a welcome letter that explains to them what they need to do. And I kind of got this getting started as easy as 1, 2, 3. And part of that is that they need to get me their picture, their logo, because we know, of course, that's going to go on to the co-branded site. I let them know that they're going to get this packet, and in the packet they're going to get a welcome letter, and so it just is really encouraging and affirming them and kind of what they need to do, action steps, kind of the coaching of 1, 2, 3, do this, and this can be successful for you. And then also in that, then what I do is I give them a sample letter that I email this to them in Word document, because, you know, of all these systems, like what has really made any system that I've ever participated in easy, if it's something that I can very easily work with. So in other words, if I get the scripts or if I get the Word documents, and, you know, oftentimes I tweak them a little bit, but I can cut, paste, and then move forward quickly. So I get it out to them in a Word document so that they've got at least a template to work from as far as introducing the system from the realtor's perspective to their client. And then I give them the instructions that what they're to do is it's very important. I let them know this is not a spam campaign. You must not spam your database with this new letter. This is permission marketing. So much of what's going on in our culture today is social media, it's that whole kind of flavor. Send out the letter, 10 letters a day or whatever you can manage, and then you follow up with a telephone call to that letter. And the letter is scripted in such a way so that they know that the realtor made an investment because he cares, because he bought into the story, and because he cares about the lives of the people he's working with. Then he follows up, and then he calls them. And then I have a script, and then I also give them a script. It's also in Word format that really just would walk through. And again, the agents, you know, they don't have all the time invested in this that I have, so I really just laid it out for them as an agent. How do I say this? How do I position this? How do I script this so that I'm communicating the message that I want, which is ultimately kind of the message that I want out of the program and, you know, through the realtor to this end user, So again, they can rehearse that. They've at least got something to kind of start, working from on their own. And then I let them know that you send out the letter, preferably by email. It's cheaper. You pick up the phone and you call them. They should be doing that anyway. We all should. You have a conversation with them, and you just, you check in. You can do any number of, approaches that you like. But at some point, it's, how can I help you? Is there anything that I can help you with? Knowing that finances is, or you can ask some questions that kind of lead to that point about finances. And then when it comes up, then you ask that, or you introduce it if you want. And you can just introduce it right, and here's the letter, and kind of get into that however you want. But then just you talk to them, and then just see if it's something that they would want. And if they want it, at least even just to check it out, then say, okay, I will enroll you. You're going to receive an email. Click on that to activate it. And then, I will follow up with you, or someone will follow up with you, depending on how you want to put your system together. I'll follow up with you in just in a week or so and see how it's going, if there's any questions on it. So now you've got another reason to connect with them. And then I've done the screenshots where I've printed out and given the instructions. Basically, I have the steps here. It's step 1 through 6, basically. So the agent has that to go in, and then they know how to enroll people in the site, which is what we said earlier. Why we made that one adjustment is because I was doing that with the agent. He said, well, that's cool, but how do I know, how are they going to know how to log in? And so then I was like, Trevor! So then that's the process. At what point, basically, we get them enrolled, site's all set up, they get the materials that they need so they can start implementing the process. We show them how to do it. They call people, they invite them in, they get them engaged. And that's just the realtor onboarding process once they come on board.
Yeah. And one thing to think about, if you want to talk, their language, speak their speak, the whole Buffini system that is so targeted at real estate professionals, and some lenders are obviously in that too, they really preach the idea of sending an item of value out. I believe it's called the IOV. Anything that gives you a reason to pick up the phone and follow up. So if they're in the Buffini system, or if they're familiar with the Buffini system, that's what this email or letter that you're giving them is. It's that first item of value, giving them, inviting them into something. And now you have a reason to pick up the phone and follow up, which, as Brad said, they should be doing that anyway, but sometimes they don't know what to talk about.
Right. Yep.
So now they have something, a reason, a specific reason of value to follow up with their clients.
Yep. And as we all know, yep. And just adding and tying into that too is now we have the emails that go out a couple times a month with these tips. And so the other language of theirs I like to use, I have Keller Williams agents around here that I work with. They have their 33 touch system. So I let them know, here's 24 of your 33 touches right here off the co-branded site. So it starts to, I think it's very important to help them see that this isn't to be integrated into their system, not something completely different. And I think that's the other thing that happens so many times is they don't see how to integrate it. So part of our job, we have to connect the dots and show them how this should be integrated into what they should be doing on a daily basis anyway.
Yes. So from there, you get them started, but you did talk with me about how important you found it is to now stay engaged, and this is just another reason to stay in front of a new real estate partner or potential partner. They're tagging on to this system with you. So you go ahead and you can walk through it. I think you know where our outline was.
Yep. Yep.
But here's I'll put it up on the screen for everybody too.
So what I found is this: is people they'll buy in, they get the story, they like it, they're on board, they enroll, we get it started, and then life happens, business happens. Again, I've experienced my own business, great intention, but yet just the execution, you can fall on that a little bit, at least I do. And then, so it's watching, because as we all know, we get the new user email when somebody signs up, and so I watch to see how many new users are coming in from that agent, and if I don't see a lot of new user come in, then I ping them, send them an email, give them a call. How's it going? Are you rolling it out? Are you running into any challenges? And just have conversation with them about that, because again, it's all about serving them, helping them grow their business, with this tangible tool. And so that's what I found just really needs to happen is to, and that way it doesn't always come across like, hey, send me a deal, but I have found oftentimes even having these types of conversations, then other things come up. Well, you know, I met with this couple, and what do you think about this? And so then again, it gives us reason to have a relationship.
Yeah. I think we need to understand how important with anything the reinforcement piece is.
Yes.
I don't think any of us do it enough. You know, really what you're doing is giving somebody a new way to create business, to cultivate leads. This is something new, though. Anytime, you know, they take on something new, they've got to change behavior in some way, even if it's not a lot, even if it's very valuable, and they know it is. They've got to make changes. They've got to become a little more focused with their day. They've got to make it a daily habit or a weekly habit. So reinforcing that, especially up front, is going to be critical with anything. So that's one. Second thing is human nature. We all know if people pay for something, they're going to use it more. And that's what you're doing. So when you give it away for free, as hard as it might be to some people right now thinking, oh, I can't imagine having my real estate agents pay for this. The only way they're going to pay for it is probably following the outline you've done. The story, the why, and getting them to buy into the value we're providing. But then they're going to use it more. Go, oh, yeah, I did pay for this. I should use this. You know, you want that attitude.
And it's being patient. And really, it's something I've had to really work on. It's still a little bit. I don't want to call it a paradigm shift, you know, for me, but it's just a different tool, if you will. And there's a certain part of this, so that I also have to just follow these same disciplines, follow these same commitments. Just know this is important, and I want to integrate it into my day, so that I do it. And by me committing to that, then it helps me make my call and touch base with the realtor and making sure that they're doing it. So it kind of starts with me and then goes out from there. And then absolutely it is some patience of, you know, I don't know, some are going to write the check, some aren't. It goes back to what we already talked about. But I will just, for me, I found that I was just kidding myself that I had somebody that wanted to work with me if they'd say yes and wouldn't write the check, because they just wouldn't. And we have this one realtor that we've been working with for months. He really should be on board, in my opinion, but he just won't write the check, and he just won't really engage. But yet he kind of, oh, this is great. And so I'm so glad we don't bring him on board, because what I know is he would never use it. And then kind of to our last bullet point down there is, and what I'm also realizing then too, is that we need to have value because of what you just said, Trevor, is kind of this behavioral shift. Is we need to do more, I need to do more to support that, in whether it's just like with what you're doing with this call. I need to have these same kind of either webinars or, you know, meeting face-to-face with them, or, and again, I think that using the technology so that you can get mass and get people on there, they have to keep hearing the message over and over and over again, just like I have to keep hearing the message from you over and over again, Trevor, that, you know, this is what it is, go do it, and here's how it works, and here's the stories. And so I know I need to do that for them. And so that's part of what I'm working on, you know, putting together to help them use the system.
Beautiful. And that's going to be fun. I mean, it's all how you approach this, but that is something uniquely valuable, and it can be fun. I enjoy these monthly calls so much, because I come in with the attitude of how can I just bring value and bring everybody back to, you know, base, and kind of remotivate, hopefully, give some new thoughts. And that's what you'll be doing for your real estate agents. It's really a mastermind group of sorts around a specific marketing, you know, effort. So we have 15 minutes to go. I want to leave some time for some Q&A. So let's just dive in real quick to then, once somebody becomes a member, what you're doing to cultivate that relationship
with the
end user, the consumer.
Just the consumer.
Yep, that has enrolled.
Yep. So really, it's just a matter of when that person enrolls, then it really, I would say, it falls to, you know, let's say, you know, the loan officer. They're on the system. You brought it to the agent. Don't expect the agent to necessarily make that call. I would really take advantage of that, and what I do is take advantage of that when that new user comes in, to engage them, welcome them into the system, and start that relationship. So it's really a matter of just simply having your script in place so that when they do come on board, as we have there, you have our trusted advisor script ready. So we welcome them, reinforce the agent, just how say it in an authentic way, but just how they've invested in this, and this is really great. Thank you for taking advantage of this, and we're here to help you. So, is there anything? What did you find interesting about the site? Well, I'd like to get rid of some debt, or I don't know, my agent just said get on board, so I said yes, or whatever it is. Kind of find out why they engaged, and then journal that down, put that in your notes, and then use that basically to build on as you go forward, and as you follow up with them, so that you can really find out and make those connections, because you kind of become the quarterback to make those connections on what is their need. Don't think about it just as a mortgage need, but truly what do these people need, find out, and then start bringing those other trusted advisors in, which is really the part that we're kind of going to as far as then talking about the faculty page and how to really leverage that faculty page. And now you can start bringing in other professionals and bring leads to them.
Absolutely, and that's what I touched on earlier. This is that first opportunity to make sure that this new member, this new lead, understands that this is not just an online tool with educational resources on there. It is also a way to connect with local professionals that their real estate agent trusts and knows, that are ready to give them some special attention when they raise their hand and need it.
Yep.
To go check out the faculty page and really promote that. This is that first chance to do so, which I think will get the consumer to realize this tool is more than just an online website.
Yes.
It's kind of a portal to other professionals when they need them.
Yeah. And that's part of what I would encourage as the onboarding script, is to kind of help them know that go on, it's there, here's the resource, but it's more than just this. Just know that it's your agent, it's myself, and all the other people that are going to be on this faculty list are here. And I love that new feature you're putting in there, Trevor, as far as the click-throughs, because that was actually one of the things an agent brought up to me. Is he said, well, I don't put those people on anymore because I don't know, I can't control where it goes, or I don't even know what's happening there. Well, now we can come back and counter that and say, oh, I can tell you exactly what's happening there and how many click-throughs we're getting and that sort of thing. So I think that's key, and that is the one thing that I've kind of beefed up now as I bring it on board, is it's an action item that I really almost mandate that they get me a core faculty group to put on there so that we can continue to leverage this, and then also coach them on how to, now they need to go sit down with that other faculty member and explain the system, explain the website, explain what they're doing, that they're going to be a faculty member, could this be of value, I'm going to, you may get calls from people that come off of this, and so now they have a whole other reason for engagement with all the people they should be networking with anyway, financial advisor, tax advisor, insurance advisor, estate planner. I mean, use this as a catalyst to reinvigorate why they get to meet with their network and what they get to talk about, and how can I, and again the question, how can I help you grow your business, Mr. Tax Advisor?
Yeah, I think I want everybody on this call to really get the networking component here, because if you go out and you co-brand a site, each of those real estate professionals has other professionals they know, and right now, as we all know, and I keep preaching every day, we need more partners. 4 or 5 years ago, 5 real estate agents could send us enough business. That's not the case anymore. They don't have enough leads, so we don't have enough leads. Now we need 10, 15, 20 professionals who know what we do, know how we're different, know how we can help, sending us business. And what we've got here is this defined marketing strategy to go to them with. And you've got a real estate professional making the introductions. So this is really untapped here. Easier way to open those doors, as you said in the beginning, to a tax advisor. A lot of people don't have the confidence, or they're not quite sure, gosh, what value do I bring to a tax advisor? I don't have a lot of people, they're all doing TurboTax.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
You need them on your faculty page for one. As simple as that. You can stop there, see if they're willing to at least be available in case somebody does click on there and want to engage with them.
Yeah. And it's the same process over and over again, because again, it's about positioning, marketing tool. Now, the realtor has a positioning tool to go to that tax advisor in a different way, retell the story. Ideally, they take you with them, so you get to meet the tax advisor. You tell the story because you're really good at it. So in my case, for me, I get to go with the agent to the tax advisor and sit down and retell the story again because it's all about buy-in, positioning, tell the story. Do you like it? Here's the tool. Here's what we're doing. Do you want on board? Because I would again say the same thing. If the tax advisor says, I don't want anything to do with that, move on. Don't bring them on the site, because
absolutely
they don't get the story and want to be a part of the solution.
Right. All right. We are getting short on time. It is flying by. I don't know that we want to spend a ton of time on this, but it is something that Brad's brought up. The idea is simple. I'm just going to put it up here, and I'll quickly go over it myself because I want to get to just wrapping this up and any questions people have. If you want somebody to help people with all the things a financial advisor might not do, Brad has brought on coaches in his business. And that is truly how he can cultivate people and help them improve cash flow and savings and credit. And you can go find a coach. You can go partner with a coach out there. And Brad, I'm kind of speaking for you here to speed things along. But
you're doing great.
The Dave Ramsey system, as Brad says, I've tapped into that. They're already trained. They already have the right mindset. But maybe they don't have quite the system themselves. They're sitting out on an island with not enough business. Go out and find those people and partner with them, talk about the system, and there you've got somebody to do all the things that many financial advisors won't do and you may not want to do. A lot of you don't want to do budgeting help, and the site may not do it by itself. And then, we can talk about that more later. So if you have more questions on how to do that, just please email us, and we can have another discussion on that. I am going to actually, before we do the questions real quick, since we're so short on time, I just want to wrap some of this up, and then we'll stop the recording, but keep it simple. That's really, I think, what Brad's done. He has created a system, but he's still keeping it simple. Don't overthink this. It's an engagement tool. It's a tool, a resource that will open up some doors for you, give you some, it's a conversation starter, give you some points to start talking about. And I love the idea, and you kept saying this, but that trusted advisor, the high trust interview, I don't know if everybody knows that, but that is, a Todd Duncan, idea from way back when, but really just taking on that role as a trusted advisor and playing quarterback. You will get more business by doing that. Making outbound referrals and other connections, and not just talking about, hey, can I do a mortgage for you if you're in the mortgage business. Everybody on these calls are always necessarily mortgage only. And then play with the number. More lead equals more business. I didn't have a chance to show you our spreadsheet tool that we created, but I did send out a video on that if you've watched it already. But if you think that's a tool you might want to have and show to your real estate partners, it's just simple math. If you've got more people who know who you are, what you do, and how you can help, it's going to translate into more ready, willing, and able buyers and more closed deals, more transactions, more money. So let's wrap up with these action steps and then open up some questions here. Number one was get your story down, your why. So that's what Brad was getting across there. Is there anything that we forgot on that part, Brad, before I keep going through this?
I don't think so for today. I think we've covered that pretty well. That's just a main part of engagement is the story. The story is a great way to engage people.
Yep. As Brad has, to upgrade to the 5-site package, right now we're making it really cheap, but we will add 4 more sites for you in a day. It doesn't take too long to at least turn them on for you. Just email us. Emily will get it all set up. A lot of you have talked to Emily. It's basically, if you're on the monthly plan, it's $50 more per month, or $600 for the entire year to go from 1 site to 5 sites. So we're trying to make it really cheap since it's still a very new resource. We'll turn on the 4 additional sites, and you get out there, connect with your current partners, talk about this, and show them, as Brad has talked about, how to engage with it from their end and improve their business. It's just something so unique out there. So very simple to get started for you, and then on the back end, you can just easily track your site, name the site, and we'll do some training when you get set up on that. But I wouldn't go to the 10-site or unlimited site, really. Just start with 5, get the system down, and it's that simple. Then schedule meetings with your top partners. And I'm talking about next week. We all need more leads now. So there's no reason to delay this. Go schedule meetings. Share your story, your why, around MFIC and the benefits of working with you and co-branding a site and making this available. Then, as we said, this whole networking potential. Talk with each of those real estate agents and schedule meetings with their network. A tax advisor they know, an estate planner they know. If you need one, they may have one, and that is a tremendous opportunity to start establishing that relationship with another professional. And I put an asterisk next to it. Not everybody was going to want to do this, but I can see so much potential there. Go out and find a financial coach to partner with. There are coaches all over the place, and they could use a system to plug into. They could use more referral, a bigger referral network. They could use an online system to maybe do some of the work for them and cultivate people and lead them to them. So think about that from their angle. Anything else, Brad, before I turn off the recording and jump into some questions here?
Nope. I think for the time that we're on, that's really good. We've covered it, and we can circle back to the Q&A, anything that we missed.
Beautiful. All right, let me stop the recording here, and I will send